Guys, what's going on? Simon Lazarus, Head of PR and Content for Corona Hunter. Now, I've got an incredible privilege today. Humbled and blessed doesn't quite cut it. Today, I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Carlos Rosillo, the CEO and co-founder of Bell & Ross. Carlos, enchanté.
Pleased to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, and thank you so much for giving me your time today. It's really, really something quite special, so thank you.
Welcome to the Burlington Arcades or VIP Lounge.
Thank you very much, and the welcome from all the team has been nothing but gracious, so I appreciate it.
Give you all the keys to understand the brain, the soul about the brand.
Absolutely. What I want to do is I want to go into a deep dive into this like a Bell & Ross Hydromax. Okay, all 11,100 meters, maybe more.
You want to get the world record.
I want to know everything about
understanding, world record of understanding.
I want to deep dive like a Hydromax. Okay?
I'm ready for that.
And we do things a little differently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of images.
Yeah.
And you need to tell me the symbolism of these images.
Okay.
How integral they are to Bell & Ross. You might recognise this first individual.
Good.
Tell me.
A good old friend. Very good old friend.
Tell me.
It remembers my childhood because I see him now and I say, wow. But this guy, I knew him when he was a kid.
15, was that you knew Bruno? 14, 15?
14, 15.
Yeah.
And you know what? What I like about our story, our adventure, is we're still friends.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's
Because sometimes in
all
business,
about the people.
Okay, in business, doing your business with a friend is a huge advantage, but very dangerous road, because business is not just friendship. And we're still very good friends. You know what? All kids now, they are 18 years old, older than when we met each other. And guess what? They are studying right now, the two of them, in the same apartment in Switzerland.
Really?
They have gone to be engineers, and they are working together.
Amazing.
Beautiful, because values, sharing values. And
What does it evoke to you when you see Bruno?
when I see him, I said, he's bright. And we were lucky to have complementary talents. I'm the business guy. I'm in charge of developing the business. He's the creative guy. He's the designer. He gives the meaning, he gives the purpose, he gives the intention of the object to make that. With the object, you see the watch and you understand what is behind, you understand the soul. And I'm in charge to control business-wise, to make that the management, etc., etc. And we were lucky to have the same values, the same ethic, the same Bell & Ross at the center. Ampersand.
Tell me about the ampersand.
Union of competence. Design, engineers, watchmakers, professional users. And this sign, which is a powerful one, it's an international one. It shows that what every people from the businesses, it's the union of competence, the union of skill, the different talents all together that makes that you win the battle, because it's a teamwork.
Because you have a big team, yeah.
Not only big team, united team. Mr. Winston Churchill, he was saying that to win the war. You need to be united to make it happen, even if the difficulty is there. But you need to have this common aspect that you can go at a level that is much higher than each of the individuals.
It's the sum of all the parts.
Yes, it's complementary talents that makes that to a common quest, that makes that all those talents together, we have the same dream. We want to succeed together. And then then you arrive to the point because you have been working together with the team and with talents that are very complementary. But the two first ones, when we created, were just the two of us. Now it's international. It's
Of course, I mean, look, you're one of the biggest brands in the world, but you've made an indelible mark on the watchmaking industry in 3 decades? So 1993, Vacheron, 1755, Patek, and so on and so on. But in 30 years, since 1993, you've been making this indelible mark on. Tell me how has that happened in such a short space of time?
First of all, the road is still there, and this is why it's I still enjoy, because we have kept the passion fresh. You start a business as an entrepreneur because you have a passion, because you enjoy, and you need to do it. It's rationally, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. Okay, I remember I had a very good. I had gone to a very good business school, and I had a very good job in finance. And when I said I was 25, and I said to my mother what I wanted to do, and she said, "You're going to leave this investment bank to do this? You're crazy." And but she understood that I had the passion. I wanted to do it, and she said, "But you're right. Do it." And she was right. And the challenge, the difficulty is to keep the passion fresh. I mean, first of all, to make that it works, that you have the talents, etc., and that you can continue your dream.
And constantly evolving.
Constantly evolve, constantly keep the passion fresh, constantly be more creative to make that. We are surprised by what we're doing, and the next generation says, wow. But having strong values, that makes that. Bruno, he used to say in terms of design, consistent and different. Following who you really are genuinely, and being different, not looking at the other ones. No, who you are, and continuing this road.
You've answered my next question, actually, because I was going to ask you about consistency and differentiation, which I've heard you mention a lot of times. What these two words could sort of symbolise with Bell & Moss? How important, how integral are these two?
Very easy. What is the initial quest for Bell & Ross? We were inspired by professional watches, by aviation. When you're in a plane, even if you're not a pilot, you're in the cockpit. What do you see? Okay, you see the sky, but in the cockpit, what do you see? The dashboard. The dashboard are with instruments where if you know how to drive the plane, how to pilot the plane, then you know that each instrument corresponds to different informations. And we were inspired by those instruments, by those dashboards. And the creativity, the genius of Bruno was when I challenged him and I said, okay, we have been inspired by those instruments. Bruno, do me a favor. Can you transpose those instruments on the wrist? From the cockpit to the wrist.
That's your
and this is what he achieved. I remember it was not at the beginning. We were inspired by instrumentation when we began in 94, but when we did in 2005, when we did the first BL1 inspired by the cockpit, by the dashboard, and he put it on the wrist, it was a wow effect. It was something, and nobody has ever done that before. Round in a square with 4 screws. Okay, so this is the momentum where, wow, what is that? And after, the strength was to be able to regenerate, to be creative enough to make that every year consistently. For instance, the saga of dashboard instruments, more than 15 different instruments, the latest. Look at the latest. Okay.
Yeah, incredible.
It looks like an instrument. It's
from a dashboard,
and it's a dashboard.
Yeah.
And when you look at that, you say, yes, I understand. I understand that those guys are making something different,
Yeah.
and they are inspired by aviation, by instrumentation. Whether you know what it is or not, you immediately recognize. And after that, what we have done was to go into the city to transfer this inspiration and to put it on a waist that you can wear as a suit more elegantly to make a jowl. So we have kept the round in a square with 4 screws, but we made that the angles were more rounded. We did what Land Rover, when they went from Defender into the Range Rover, they went from the countryside, but having something very strong, into the city. We have achieved the same.
It's the BR05, yeah.
BR5, and after getting into the
X5.
manufacture with X5 and with many innovation in terms of materials, luminescence, in terms of what is inside, the movement, the complexity of the movement. Because the beauty of the watch industry is about that. It's form follow function. And function is dependent on the technicity, on what is inside the movement.
So we're going to go back in time again. Land, sea and air, and air is your the main design codes, the ethos of Bell and Ross. I'm going to show you my next picture. You may again recognise him, but I want you to tell me, and enlighten our audience about who is this, and what it means to Bell and Ross.
I love his smile. Mr.
Yeah.
Cassine,
I hope I've hit the right image there. Tell me more.
A gentleman, an adventurer, someone that when you're lucky to find this kind of man, you're blessed. When we arrived, we were 25. Bruno began to design for him, and I don't know, he probably saw kind of professional sons through us, and he put us on board. He made our first collection.
Because you were Bell and Ross by Sin.
By Sin,
originally,
absolutely.
yeah.
After he sold his company, but he was a pilot with 20,000 hours of flying and not in a commercial flight, in a small
small
airplanes,
yeah.
and he was an adventurer, and he was making instrument power clock, he was making watches, and he made our first watches, and well, he made that Bell and Ross exist. And I remember when I received the Légion d'honneur in France.
I was going to ask you about that, yeah.
When Bruno received it, he came both times to
in
Les Invalides. And
it's Le Chevalier de la Légion d'honneur.
And we were so happy because General Baptiste, who was the commander of Les Invalides, and made him a private visit on where Napoleon Bonaparte is buried.
In Les Invalides.
Yeah, in Les Invalides. And he had a lot of emotion because he wanted to see Napoleon, and he could see that. And yeah, he made possible all what we have done, which is the beginning of Bell and Ross.
Yeah, I mean, he's an integral part, obviously, the inception of your brand.
He also had this philosophy, which is functional philosophy, and he appreciated Bruno's design, but he allows us to start our business.
Absolutely. The last image I'm going to show is it's an entity, it's a symbol. What does this mean to you, and tell me why?
Wow. Because
I'm going back to I'm going back to the beginning here. Then we're going to move forward in time.
Those are the important steps that you have to choose. The most important steps. The beginning, friendship with Bruno, and having complementary talents. After, someone who believes in you, because to start a company, you need to have a vision. You need to have your dream, and after you need to have some people who believe in you and who help you starting. He was the first man. He made our first watches, but after we started our company with 20,000 euros in the pocket
wow.
to develop a watch international company. It was a little short. And so I knew from my business experience that we needed to have a financial backup and a financial assets. And we were lucky to find the people, the owners of Chanel, who joined the company, who were wearing Bang & Ross. And not only they gave us all the legal aspect, of course, the financial help to develop and to be able to produce. But let's say, when you have strong values, you have a long-term vision. But you need also to have, yes, some people who believe in you and who help you to make that you stick to who you are, to your vision. And they have been so helpful to make that on the long-term vision. They have helped us to keep this long-term vision. And so important.
Because I heard they were already wearing your
Yeah,
timepieces already in
were,
your
they
flagship store in New York.
Yeah, we went to New
You were
York.
opposite,
They came initially. We get into relation through venture capitalists who present us, and they came to Paris. We immediately had a perfect fit.
Relationship, yeah.
And then they made that everything had to be done properly, all the legal aspects, etc. And then we went to see them in New York, and yes, they have seen all the important steps of the story of Bang & Ross. And when you have the chance to have some wise godfather, godmother around you, you ask them. When you don't, because sometimes you don't know what should I do, and they give you the right advice. Every time that, sometimes you are at the crossroads. And the difficulty is to choose, and to choose with courage, and to choose being wise. And they know what is the luxury business, and they have an experience that they see with a lot of anticipation. For instance, we were one of the companies who started. Okay, guess what was the year we had our first website?
The first website.
Yeah. At the moment that.
Wow, that's a tough question.
Okay.
I thought I was the one with the tough questions. Oof. 1985, 6. Am I way off?
1997.
Okay, I'm way off.
1997. At that time, not a lot of luxury brand had a website.
Yeah.
Because really, in fact, internet, especially in the luxury business, we were the first watch luxury brand to have an e-business, to have
like an e-commerce wing,
e-commerce selling online. First, very first. And all those questions we have shared with the owners of Chanel, because they know, and they question also themselves, and they could give us the good advice. This location here, we are in the Burlington Arcades, because we were trying to find a place where do we put our luggage when we are in the UK, first luggage in London. I could see. I remember when I was a kid, I was coming here in London, Jermyn Street with my father, and coming here to see all the vintage watches. So I knew this Burlington Arcades.
But
they help us. It's a fantastic place, but they help us to say, okay, let's you're going to have your first boutique here
Mm.
in the Burlington Arcades, close to the Ralph Lauren store, close to New Bond Street, etc.
You're in the
This
heart of it.
in the prestigious place.
Yeah.
And yes, and you know, yeah, those images.
They're key. Well, that's why I
It's-
chose them.
How
How
to
can
call
you
the
not just
company like that?
How can you not epitomise the start of Bell and Ross without, these three sort of entities?
Being surrounded by the right people, by the right talents. Let me share.
Go on.
There is this fantastic quote, and I want to be, because when you make a quote, you need to be quite precise.
Mm.
And I don't. It's not. Yeah, this is another one which I love from Churchill.
Go on.
Success is not final. Failure is not fatal.
Mm.
It is the courage to continue that counts.
Couldn't agree more.
So right.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. So look, let's go. That was the past.
You were saying, let's go forward together.
Yeah, and that's what exactly we're going to do right now. We're going to move forward in our horological journey. I want to go into the design codes of Bell and Ross. Now, you've told me form over function, round and a square, 4 utilitarian screws, which is the epitome of your design code. I want to know about the luminescence and how integral that is.
Okay. Being readable day and night. Day, have good contrast, black and white. Okay. Night, luminescence. Shining in the night. This is luminescence. Superluminova. Highly powerful, highly luminescent. Our saga of luminescence, we have been developing more than 20 different watches with luminescence on the dial, on the hands, on the indexes, everywhere. Okay. Even on the strap.
I see the BRX5, the with the full
The new
Yeah, I'd
full
love to
loom.
see that.
This is something
Yeah.
amazing, because first
Phenomenal.
time a watch company can develop a watch case luminescence. First time, even
On
the
the case, yeah.
all the case is luminescent. It means that when you are in night, when you're in disco, suddenly you see all the watch not okay. It's
That's the
day
Yeah,
and night.
yeah, phenomenal.
And
And that's the first time that a brand has done full case luminescence.
absolutely
Yeah.
day.
I can see why.
And
case as well,
this
yeah.
has been
Indices a lot.
released last year at Dubai Watch Week.
Yeah.
But
And how was the reaction to it?
people were
Off the charts?
Wow.
Yeah. I can imagine.
There was the whole industry was there, and all the people from the watch industry say, "Wow, your innovation is great." The green one, which was developed last year, this year, you're wearing a nice blue jacket.
Mm-hmm. Likewise.
Look at that
Yeah.
with your jacket.
Set it up.
Look at that.
It goes nicely.
Look at that.
Yeah, that does actually match very nicely.
Yeah.
Actually.
Can you imagine the disco?
And is
The power of attraction you will have.
magnetic. The thing is that what I like. Okay, so we have this is with the partnership with Kinesi, yes.
No,
70
okay.
hour?
The movement
Yeah, the
is
movement,
kinetic.
Yeah,
But the luminescence
Yeah.
is something that it's a very special recipe that we have developed for the casing, where this is a patent that we have done for first time we have developed, and in the watch industry it has been developed a case with luminescence. So movement is made by Kinesi, a special one.
Yeah.
It's a long time power reserve,
So it's
70 hours.
Okay.
The index is over there with a big date
Yeah.
and with very precise cost certification. It's very reliable. It's 5 years warranty. This is the excellency of the movement through Kinesi. But in terms of casing, This is a very special casing, and this is patented only for Bell & Ross.
And the material we're talking about here is, in terms of the case material?
It's what we called LM3D, luminescence,
Yeah.
3 dimensions.
Okay.
It's,
What are the benefits of LM3D?
the benefits is that the luminescence is in the case. It means that when you're at night, you can see your watch in a bright and glowing aspect that nobody has ever seen that before.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal. I want to talk about talking. We're sort of still on the case now.
Yeah.
I believe that there was a very significant 1 millimeter alteration.
Yeah.
Do you know where I'm going with this? Tell me from 42 to 41 was the BR03, yes?
The key in design is to have something that is lasting, but if you don't do anything on your design, there is a moment that you begin to be bored or old. How to restyle a watch? In the watch, in the let's take the example of car industry. When you look Porsche 911 and you see the saga of Porsche, little details that have changed and that it stays, you recognize the watch, you recognize the car, but with fine tuning, you make that the model is evolving. Same for the watch.
Yeah.
Little details, 1 millimeter less to make that it's more ergonomically more comfortable. But lugs are different, hands, dial, casing, strap, everything has changed. But the fans slightly notice, but it's very tiny. And at the end, you don't know why. Even the fans, they said, yeah, I prefer this model, but can they estimate where does it come from? Not really.
No.
But yes, they prefer it.
Yeah.
And this is how you conclude that it was the right evolution, the right move to make that the icon, which is this iconic shape, is restyled.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got BR01, we've got BR03, we've got BR05, okay? We've got BRX5.
Yes.
I want to know tell me more about the Cyber Skull editions. Because we could be here again for about, 45 weeks, not just 45 minutes.
Okay. We are lucky to have, in fact, today 2 icons. The dashboard and it's simply when you look at when you look at the 03 and the 05, we've got 2 different shapes with the let's say the urban style and the professional one. And those are the 2 sides. Okay, the professional or the urban aspect. On the professional, on this very dashboard instrument, what we wanted is to work on the movement and to have something that stands out with a faceted case, sharp angles, inspired by stealth airplanes. And what we have done is this
Look at
watch.
this. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's these faceted angles and this movement that is a full skeleton manufacture, and you see through it and you understand the technicity. Even the bridges are faceted. Everything is extraordinarily complex, but you can. It's like, sometimes when you have a car and you have a glass on the over the motor and you can see the motor and you see, wow, what an engine. And here you have the same feeling. What an engine.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I mean, it's not full ceramic. It's full ceramic?
Full ceramic.
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
Full ceramic.
So tell me more, because obviously I know in your collection you're going more towards ceramic. Why in terms of
materials? Okay, let's take another example. We love cars. And Bruno, who is very inspired, he has developed motorbikes with Harley Davidson or recently Black Truck. He has developed airplanes, B-Rocket, but also cars. And he has designed a car, a GT race car, and he has designed also a watch corresponding to this car. The car and the watch.
He's really a creator of.
And he's super creative. But
Yeah.
here is the watch.
So tell me more about this.
Uh,
It's execution.
Same inspiration as the car with all those elements that indicate the power reserve indicator,
It's like a fuel gauge, isn't
Exactly.
it? Yeah.
and with also the materials, with carbon fiber, with titanium, with ceramic.
Must be very light.
Super. Look at
Yeah,
that.
let's have a look. Very light. Yeah.
It's a super fast watch.
Yeah. And it's a third case diameter for 40.
This is 41 millimeters.
41. I was going to say 41. Okay. And
Yeah, and you see, look,
very light. Very light.
You know, look at that. When you look at those watches, yeah, it's a plastic too. Don't worry. Okay. When you look those,
But it still has the form and function, though, isn't it?
You
Bell and
have
Ross. You can
this
tell
concept.
instantly.
and look at that.
Yeah.
You see that this is very consistent. And what is the common aspect?
It's the round and the square, isn't it? Yeah.
Simply,
And that's the thing, right?
yeah,
Everyone knows that
You recognize
see around
Bell
the
and
square,
Ross.
it's you. It's Bell and Ross.
you recognize it.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And why round and square? Because when you're, whether it's a boat, whether it's a car, whether it's an airplane, the dashboard that allows you to drive the way you're going.
Absolutely. No, it's I can see it's it's fundamental to
Yeah.
to your design code.
Yeah.
The two pillars.
Yeah.
The square, the round and the square, the four screws,
Yeah, it's consistent, but you see that.
and consistent as you
But
say.
You see what is interesting is, yes, you see that this is very, it goes into the same way. When I look into our collection of O5 or X5, all black ceramic or titanium,
The black
It's-
ceramics, yeah.
this is
Phenomenal.
very sharp. But you can also, the one I'm wearing, the rose gold.
Tell us about the. Let's have a
is
wrist
more
check.
the jewelry aspect. This is more, let's say, luxury, prestigious,
It's
elegant.
rose gold.
This is rose gold. You have
Yeah.
also the rotor
Yeah.
in the back of the case.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
rotor is gold, etc. And
It's a lovely piece.
after,
Lovely
it
piece.
depends on how you feel. Do you prefer black and white? Do you prefer the technical aspect with the materials? Do you prefer luxury? This is after, when you have your code, your language of design, and after just changing the material and changing the colors and changing the inspiration. Is the inspiration more about racing, more about going to a crazy movement, or being able to stand out with brightness, and when you go to the disco you shine?
Yeah. And I heard you did one for Only Watch, which was around 200,000
Wow.
Swiss francs.
The only watch went into the auction.
Tell us more.
Last the first time when we make a sapphire, it was nearly 300,000.
300,000.
Yeah, the sapphire one.
Full sapphire, is it?
It was in sapphire, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a complicated movement, and even the skull was in sapphire. It was incredible, and we didn't expect it would go so high in terms of price. But you know, the beauty of Bell & Ross is also that you can begin at 4,000, which is very
Entry level.
Euro, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can go to 500,000, or even I know a gentleman that I met who was an art collector, and he bought different special pieces that we had, and it was more than 1 million. So it means that
That's
the
a
price
huge
range
difference.
has a huge height. And how is it that we can touch
How is it possible that you can go from 4,000
for a
to a million and
simple
cater
for
for?
a simple reason? for two reasons. Because there is a style where we're different, there is a lot of creativity, but you immediately recognize this is the Bell and Ross style. So, according to your means, if your means are more limited, you will go to a luxury product, but starting at 4,000. And if your limit is both, you can go up to 1 million. But you will have a Bell and Ross different on your waist.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a club.
Talk to me about vertical integration.
Yeah. Let's say that, first of all, our philosophy is to be able to control the quality, but with the different talents. It means that we're not obsessed about ownership. We're obsessed about quality.
Yeah.
It means that when we develop some tourbillon, when we develop the Sapphire, when we develop this watch, we use the best talents. And my philosophy, personally, is sometimes if the talent want to stay independent or if they want to be able to supply other people, I'm fine with that. What I want is that they respect who is Bell and Ross and that the project is unique. They make something special for Bell and Ross.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ownership, we're not a group. We're a company who has a vision, but we're not a financial group who wants to own or to rule the world. What we want is to make sure that our product, our quality has the highest standards with a certain vision of creativity.
Absolutely. No, completely agree. Look, it's quality, it's technical prowess, it's craftsmanship. You have it in abundance with whether it's going back in time to the BR01, to the BRX5 and all those different declinations, okay? I see it throughout all the iterations.
Quality is a necessary quest. But personally,
tell me your idea of quality.
I feel more comfortable being financially relaxed, not having too much on the shoulders, to make that our brain, in terms of creativity, has the freedom to develop according what we like and with the people that we respect and like to work with.
Yeah. And like you said from the start, it's about the team, the collaborative, the collaborative ampersand.
Yeah. And having this freedom to go, this beautiful quote from Mark Twain, sail away from the safe harbor, explore, dream, discover.
Yeah. That's what it's about, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd like to, look, again, I've got another about 50 questions for you. Let's see how many we can squeeze in about 10 minutes. I want to talk to you now about collaborations.
Yes.
We're seeing it now more and more in the luxury watch industry without going into different brands and what they're doing, okay? You've obviously had the collaboration with Renault, then later Alpine, and the Patrouille de France. Tell me about this collaboration with the Patrouille de France, which is like the equivalent of our British Red Arrows,
Values, strong values, sharing the same values, excellence, teamwork, what we call union of competence, precision, of course, and all those values that makes that there is a similarity, and it's easy. And we were lucky to be chosen. Since I'm a kid, when you love aviation, you dream about Patrouille de France. They are the best of the best. And we were lucky to be chosen by them. Now they have become friends. They every time before the Independence Day, 14 juillet, before they fly to inaugurate the big parade, the army parade, they're the ones who are the front. And 2 days before, they come to spend the whole journey with us.
Oh, really? Wow.
Because we have a lot to talk together. We learn a lot. For instance, they are the ones who have teach me more than anybody what is teamwork. When you see them flying together, there is no ego. Because they fly like one, they are eight,
In
like
unison.
one single airplane.
Yeah. One entity.
And if one wants to make his own road, they would scratch out and they would die out.
Yeah.
So they need
Precision.
really to be precise, of course, but all together.
Yeah.
You really all together. And this is a very good example about how I think a team should work.
Are there more partnerships in the future, or
We are working on.
good to know?
And you know, I love aviation, but I love watches. But I think collaborations need to make sense. Establishing bridges between different say subjects that have strong passion, whether it is cars, whether it is motorbike, whether it is cigar, whether it is about food, about lifestyle. You can establish bridges. Here, okay, we are in London. We have done the collaboration, and it reminds me, of course, what we have achieved here. Tonight, where am I going? To the Duke's
Tell
Bar.
me.
To the Duke's Bar to enjoy Alessandro Palazzi incredible cocktails. And because I think he's the king of cocktails, as far as I know, in London.
Right.
And when you drink a Vesper over there served by Alessandro, you fly to the moon. Yeah, you know, we have been developing, this was a nice collaboration. One model, which is called, of course, the Vesper. And if Alessandro sees your watch, he will serve you immediately a Vesper because he knows
I
that
need to get one, man. I need to get one. No, it's very, very exciting. I've got a few more questions left. So, look, it's a little bit different, this one. If you have 1 minute left, on
If I have
if
one
you have
minute
1 minute left on planet Earth,
Yeah.
which Bell and Ross are you wearing and why? Now, you could double wrist,
Okay.
or you could triple wrist like Buzz Aldrin.
choose mine.
You t-
Okay.
Which-
Okay. Easy.
Go on.
The one I got married with.
Right,
Huh?
absolutely.
Jumping
Cool.
hour. The moment that you change your life.
Tell me clear which was
It's
the PR.
It's a rounded platinum case, gold dial. It's very special movement made by Vincent Calabrese with a power reserve at 6 o'clock and with just one hand. And at 12 o'clock, you have just a disc showing the hour digitally. And when it changes the hours, it jumps. And fantastic movement and very, very simple, you know, very simple, nothing, but very, very beautiful. And this is the watch I was wearing when I got married.
And you've owned that for how long? now?
Next year will be 25 years that we know each other.
Amazing. Félicitations.
Merci.
I did say to you we'd have to catch up part 2 of Watches and Wonders, 2025.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
my pleasure. Thank
for your
you.
time.
Thank
Merci
you
de votre
because
temps. And
I love the way you introduce the power of
it's
images.
the passion.
Absolutely.
It's the passion, and
No, thank you.
it runs through your timekeeping vein. So thank you so much for joining
My
us.
pleasure.
Merci de votre temps. And part 2, Watches and Wonders, fingers crossed in Geneva, 2025. Thank you.